Yeah, when I started having this perception, so when the special military operation started happening in Ukraine, well, I started, I'm just next door from what's happening there. It's not too far away. No? The other day, I just mentioned in the comments in Twitter, someone was playing, um, beach prices in Italy that are completely crazy. A chair in the beach for the entire day is like 40 euros.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was saying, you can go to Cyprus. I've been there last year, and I got a chair for 250 for the entire day. It's public. You pay a guy with a machine, a public machine, and someone said, Cyprus is too close to war zone. I said, dude, Ukraine's over there. And I started searching what was going on. First, I watched the Netflix video, the Netflix documentary or propaganda, whatever you can call it. Then a friend of mine, a Russian friend of mine, said, "Look, check this one from Oliver Stone. Check this guy." That's when I came to know the channel of Gonzalo Lira, and from that I started
Uh-huh.
knowing all the channels and all the people like yourself. And I
Right.
was watching a documentary after that, just for fun. It's an Italian documentary called "The Girl from the Vatican." So it's about a girl that was born and living in the Vatican. It was a Vatican girl that disappeared. And so there is a lot of this church, involvement with mafia and, washing money and stuff like that. And this documentary at some point, started mentioning the movement Solidarity in Poland after before the collapse of the Soviet Union, and the attempt assassination of the Pope, where they bring this Turkish guy. There's always some Turkish guy doing some stupid stuff.
Right.
There's this Turkish guy that they take out, and he said, Russia told me to do that. And then there is this prophecy of the girls from Portugal, of Nazareth, the prophecy of holy.
Yeah, yeah.
And the prophecy says, you have to convert the Russians into Catholics, not Orthodox anymore. So I'm paraphrasing here. It's not exactly that it says, but the idea is more or less that. And I was
Yeah.
like, Jesus Christ, there's always Russia and religion connected to these major geopolitical events somehow. And Russia is always the bad guy that needs to be converted, needs to be destroyed, needs to be chopped in pieces. And now we have this situation in Israel. And in the beginning, the Middle East has been always a zone of tensions. But now we are seeing these messianic talks about this zone. So I want to understand, and it's very important. I was having a live with Lucas Leroy this weekend, and we were talking about Middle East dynamics, Hamas, Hezbollah, and Shia, Sunni, and then, as you were mentioning, you have the Orthodox Jews and you have the Zionists. How does these dynamics happen over there?
Well, when you get into this realm of religion, everybody believes they have truth
Yeah.
and that they've got the genuine insight. And so much of our, I think the way, at least in the United States, I'm not sure how it is in Europe, but I suspect it's the same. So much of what we're taught about history either minimizes, glosses over, or ignores the role
Mm-hmm.
of religion. So, when you go back and you look at the schism that separated the Catholic Church from the Eastern Orthodox Church, and that was an important moment in history, and it was tied up with the fall of Constantinople and transformation of Constantinople into Istanbul and the spread of Islam throughout the Middle East and the attempt of Islam to take over Europe and the failure there. So, religion in the people's concept of a relationship with deity was very much a part of shaping history. And yet we sort of conveniently ignore it, pretend that it doesn't matter. The Catholics sort of take great pride in the fact that they are so much larger than the Eastern Orthodox Christians. But when you look at what the Catholic Church has become, it's so corrupt. It's filled with pedophiles, and it's we're not talking about two minor instances of sexual abuse of children by priests. We're talking about thousands, tens of thousands of priests that have done this around the world, and it's documented. And what the Vatican does is cover it up. That's one of the sort of, if you will, the critical differences between Eastern Orthodox Christians and the Catholics. You don't, with the Eastern Orthodox movement are not normally out buggering over. And part of the reason there is that the priests are allowed to,
Yep.
They aren't formed to a that they don't really follow the Catholic Church anyway, in my view. But still, the Catholic Church is an enormously powerful institution. And the Pope, regardless of what anyone may think about him, is still viewed as they have a say in world affairs. And so Israel is now this battleground, and the Zionists insist that God gave this land to me. The movie Exodus with Paul Newman from was 61, 62. The song Exodus, this land, my land, God gave this land to me. Very. Once they got that in their mind, man, it doesn't belong to anybody. It belongs to us. And again, ignoring history, which the original 12 tribes, these were tribes that took over what is now sort of Israel, Lebanon, Palestine. 10 of those tribes disappeared. Now, they weren't taken away by aliens, but they got folded into other cultures. And, because there were constant invasions. So really this, and the promises that God made to the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that according to both the Christian and Jewish Bible, well, if those promises don't just apply to people who today say, hey, I'm Jewish. Those promises apply to the descendants in theory, if you believe the book, if you take the book seriously. Those promises apply to those other people, and the odds are that a vast majority of the world may in fact be descendants from those people. That's one thing to consider. So that if you proceed from the idea that the promises that are listed in both the Hebrew scriptures and the Old Testament of the Bible to Abraham, be a father of many nations. Well, that wasn't just for Jews. That was a whole lot of other people. And so what we've got really is a situation that is a reenactment of the story of Cain and Abel, where we have brother killing brother. This murderous nature that is being promoted, the inhumanity that's being visited upon Palestinians right now by these Zionist crazies, where they insist that they have, because God does this land, we have the right to rape
and
to kill
women and children and all that.
It's like, yeah, that's where you need to step back and say, you know what? If that's really your concept of God, you need to put that away. It's tough.
Yeah.
If you're going to have a God of war, this is not, this vindictive going to wipe everybody out God is the old saying, it's an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, and after a while everyone's going to wind up blind and toothless.
Exactly.